Now, how different do you think these next two sentences are going to sound? Imagine you're in a courtroom, it's all very solemn, and first off, you're going to hear this oath. I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Or swear an oath without mentioning any religious figure. So, I do solemnly swear, I'm going to do it on my phone. I do solemnly swear, sincerely and truly declare and affirm the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Doesn't have the same punch,
well,
does it?
let's
Well, those
see
are the
what
two
we
ways
think.
you can swear the oath in court these days. But new research, statistical research, suggests that jurors are more likely, on balance, to believe you if you read it my way, if you swore on the Bible and you mentioned your God, whether it's God or Allah or whoever.
So, if you don't have a religious belief, then you can't swear on the Bible. So should we take the Bible or other religious testimonies out of this, out of the judiciary system? Joining us now is religious commentator and supporter of the Bible's use, Caroline Farrow. Good to see you this morning. And also Andrew Copson from Humanist UK, who says it's time to leave God out of court. Right, OK. Let's come to you first of all, Caroline. Why is it important to have God? And it doesn't have to be God, it could be Allah, it could be other faiths, other higher powers that you observe. Why is it important to have that as part of the oath, in your view?
Well, we have it, firstly, we have it because it's historic. But secondly, for religious believers, it is a sign of authority. This is, everything I hold true and dear, I am swearing on. And it adds that element of solemnity. But it's very interesting, this study, because even the conductors of the study said it was very, very nuanced. So I think it was 49% of people who took a secular oath. 49, I think it was 49% of those who took the secular oath were acquitted, as opposed to 60% of those who took...
It's not that nuanced. That's
no,
quite a gap.
but the thing is, it's unconscious biases. So you two reading that oath, if I had seen you both read that oath, actually, I'd be more inclined to believe Kate. Not because of the oath, but because Kate's a woman. I sort of have more affinity with women. We've all walked Kate's journey with Derek with her. Oh. So, there's that element of
making a personal judgment, nothing to do with the facts of the case.
Yeah, and so when we had this study, actually, there was a lot of assumptions made that those jurors who had taken the religious oath were, this is why that they were more likely to find people guilty. But we don't know what the other nuances or biases...
Yes, well, I think there might be another factor.
Okay,
Andrew, let me put it to you here. If I swear or somebody swears on the Bible, do you think one of the factors that makes a juror think I'm possibly more likely to be telling the truth is that I'll be tempting fate by swearing on the Holy Book, by swearing on the Bible and invoking the name of God? If I'm lying, I'm risking a thunderbolt, as it were. It's it's tempting fate, as I say.
We don't know why, of course, the people in this experiment who were the jurors tended to favour people who had religious oaths. We don't know what was going on in their minds. It was jurors who themselves had sworn a religious oath that favoured defendants who were swearing a religious oath. So that's the way that the bias was going. It wasn't generally jurors who favoured the religious oath. It was specifically jurors who themselves had taken the religious oath. So that does seem to indicate some prejudice towards people who were taking the non-religious affirmation. But whatever the cause is in those jurors' brains of their tendency to favour people who swore an oath, who swore an oath, that's right. Yeah. The fact is that, as the authors of this study say, if you go by the rate of favouritism shown in their study, this is responsible for hundreds of possibly false convictions of people who don't swear oaths every year. And that fact alone, the fact that we know that there is prejudice in the jury in this way, I think should be enough for us to address it. Because if people are being convicted perhaps unfairly as a result of this prejudice, it should be eliminated from our court system, I would think. And That doesn't mean that religious people couldn't swear an oath on the Bible, perhaps not in front of the jury, perhaps in front of court officials, in some other room, if they found it was important. And I accept that, as Caroline says, some people will feel it's very important. But I think it does mean that in the courtroom, we should have an equality of an affirmation, and we shouldn't be inviting the sort of bias that this study showed that jurors can exercise.
But isn't that the challenge with finding the right jury anyway? That people come to it with their own life experience, their own feelings, their own emotions, and you have to have some kind of standard, don't you?
Well, it might be that juries are not the best way to judge cases. I don't know. It's certainly persuasive what you've just said.
That's quite a big judiciary system change, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but I don't think we can do anything about that right now. I think the jury system on balance is going to remain. But what we can do is make it better. So I think that an argument that nothing is perfect is not an argument against making it better. And what this study would show is that to make it better, to make it more equal, to treat people more fairly, we would have one oath that everybody took without prejudice.
All right, Caroline, what he's essentially saying, he's sort of channeling his inner Tony Blair there. Do you remember Tony Blair famously said, I think we should leave God out of this, it's just not helpful.
And I mean, I'd also be very interested in, I think what's important is whether or not people are telling the truth in court. So I'd be very interested in a different study showing whether swearing on the Bible or a religious text, whether that's more likely to make you tell the truth or not. But it's very interesting that this study comes in the same week as the Catholic Union have presented evidence to a parliamentary inquiry about how religion is not taken seriously as a protected characteristics, and that religion is sort of seen as something of a blind spot at work and with employers. And so I think we have to be quite careful. It seems to be sort of prejudicing. If the court system says, OK, people who, jurors who are religious or who swear a religious oath may be biased, again, that's sort of prejudicing society. And it's like, it feels like another push to get religion out, as you said, Richard, out of the public square, out of public life. And it's sort of...
Well, can I ask you a slightly deeper question, a personal question, really? Obviously, you believe in God, and God sees all. What do you think he makes of this debate?
I think he's very pleased to still be relevant and still be talking about, actually, we're in Holy Week. How important is it, to swear on the Bible? And I think as well, you have to remember that a lot of religious people, and interestingly as well, this study talked about, they said it wasn't religion that was the problem, but authoritarianism. So the psychologists felt that actually it wasn't sort of a particular religious persuasion, but maybe people were inclined to authoritarianism. But they also did say this was very nuanced. It wasn't definite, and as we said, there could be
even
other
so,
factors.
if I was a solicitor or a barrister advising my client, I would say, I don't care if you don't believe in God or Allah, I don't care, I want you to swear on the Bible, because it's going to improve your chances of getting off. Simple as that.
But jurors should be looking at evidence, ultimately.
Of course they should.
This is what was discovered in a previous study, that actually it's to do with how we weigh up the evidence that's in front of us, and that's what jurors should be focusing on.
Yes, but there's so much other extraneous stuff, like, has the defendant had a shave? Is he wearing a tie? Is the defendant a woman? Is she wearing makeup? It's a very complicated matrix of influences.
Well, it's a fascinating debate. It's a fascinating
Thank you both
debate.
very much.